Welcome to Catholic Shrine Basilica YouTube channel. Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi. Introduction. The Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi is one of the 8 basilicas in India. This heritage edifice of Kerala is also one of the finest and imposing churches in India. Located close to the renowned St. Francis Church, this basilica serves as the cathedral church of the Diocese of Cochin, the second oldest diocese of India. The history of Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi dates back to the 16th century and begins with the arrival of Portuguese missionaries in 1500 CE. The construction work started when the first Portuguese viceroy Dom Francisco de Almeida got permission from the Cochin Raja to build a church. The foundation stone was laid on May 3, 1505, the feast day of the invention of the Holy Cross, hence the church was named Santa Cruz. Meanwhile, the church had undergone some serious demolition and re-erection. The present-day structure was consecrated on November 19, 1905. In 1984, Pope John Paul II raised the status of Santa Cruz Cathedral to basilica for its antiquity, artistic dignity and historical importance. This amazing construction has 2 lofty spires that welcomes all even from a distance. The exterior is whitewashed and astonishingly bright, and the interior is pastel-colored. The interior of the church has Gothic-style architecture with its overwhelming arches and an awe-inspiring altar. The main altar was decorated by the renowned Italian painter Father Antonio Moschini and his disciple Da Gama of Mangalore. Their contribution is still vivid in the columns that are decorated with frescoes and murals. The 7 large canvas paintings, including a beautiful reproduction of the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci, are a real feast for the eyes. The ceilings of the church are adorned with paintings that depict scenes from the Via Crucis of Christ. The beautiful stained glass windows are another attraction. The church, for its inimitable beauty and grandeur, has become a must-see destination in Fort Kochi. History of Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi. The history of the Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi starts with the arrival of the Second Portuguese fleet under Pedro Álvares Cabral on December 24, 1500, along with Portuguese missionaries. King Tremampura Raja of Cochin Kingdom welcomed them, and that caused the ruler of Kozhikode Kingdom, Zamorin, to declare war on Cochin Kingdom, as Zamorin and Portuguese had very bad relation in the Malabar region of Kerala. The war efforts of Zamorin were not paid off well with the arrival of the Portuguese commander Afonso de Albuquerque in 1503. He and the Portuguese army defeated the enemies of the Cochin Kingdom, and the king in return gave permission to the Portuguese to build a fort in Kochi. Subsequently, in 1505, Dom Francisco de Almeida, the first Portuguese viceroy, got permission from King of Cochin to build a church building, and the foundation stone of the church was laid on May 3, 1505, on the day of the Feast of the Cross. Feasts of the Cross commemorate the cross used in the crucifixion of Jesus. While Good Friday is dedicated to the Passion of Christ and the crucifixion, this day celebrate the cross itself as the instrument of salvation. Since the foundation of the church happened on the day of the Feast of the Cross, the church building when completed was named Santa Cruz, meaning Holy Cross. Architecture of Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi. The Santa Cruz Cathedral is one of the 8 basilicas currently functioning in India. The Indo-European and Gothic style makes it outstanding. It has 2 huge spires and the exteriors look bright. The interiors are pastel-colored, and the beautiful arches as well as the stained glass windows gives it an exotic look. The key altar has been adorned by the Italian artist Father Antonio Moschini and his follower Da Gama of Mangalore. The mural paintings and the frescoes make this cathedral even more beautiful. Among the several paintings that hang here, the Last Supper by Leonardo da Vinci is the most famous one. Other paintings include the Passion of Christ and Death on Cross. The ceilings are also decorated with paintings, and you can also spot the Via Crucis of Christ. In 1505, Dom Francisco de Almeida, the first Portuguese viceroy, got permission from the Kochi Raja to build a church edifice using stones and mortar, which was unheard of at that time, as the local prejudices were against such a structure for any purpose other than a royal palace or a temple. The foundation stone of the Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi, was laid on May 3, 1505, the feast day of the invention of the Holy Cross. Hence the magnificent edifice, when completed, was named Santa Cruz. This church was located on the eastern side of the present Children's Park, Fort Cochin. The basilica hosts the relic of the Holy Cross of our Lord Jesus Christ for a long time. This is at the right side of the church. Santa Cruz Church, 1505 to 1558. The history of Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi, begins with the arrival of Portuguese missionaries along with the Second Portuguese Fleet under Pedro Álvares Cabral on December 24, 1500. The King Unigoda Varma Tirumalpaju, Trimampura Raja, of Kingdom of Cochin, received them very warmly. This caused the Zamorin of Calicut to declare war against Kingdom of Cochin. But the Portuguese army under Commander Dom Afonso de Albuquerque, who reached Cochin in 1503, defeated the enemies of the King of Cochin, and in return he gave them permission to build a fort in Kochi. Raising to cathedral and demolition, 1558 to 1795. In 1558, Pope Paul IV raised the Santa Cruz Church to the status of a cathedral, along with the erection of the second diocese in India, Diocese of Cochin, Suffragan, other being Diocese of Malacca, to the Archdiocese of Goa. The Dutch took control of Cochin in 1668, and they had demolished the Catholic buildings except Santa Cruz as well as St. Francis. The cathedral was used as arms storehouses. But after the British took over Kochi in 1795, the Santa Cruz Cathedral was demolished. Erection of Santa Cruz Basilica, 1886, present. About 100 years later, Bishop João Gomes Ferreira, 1887 to 1897, a missionary and the Bishop of Cochin, took an initiative to re-erect the cathedral and commenced the plan of its construction. But it was the next bishop, Mateus de Oliveira Xavier, 1897 to 1908, who completed the edifice. The cathedral was consecrated on November 19, 1905 by Bishop Sebastião José Pereira, Bishop of Damao. Considering its antiquity, artistic dignity and historical importance, Pope John Paul II, through a special decree Constat Sancti Templum Sancti Cruci of August 23, 1984, raised the Santa Cruz Cathedral to the status of basilica. Inscription outside the church. The Dutch, who conquered Cochin in 1663, destroyed all Catholic buildings. Only the St. Francis Church and the cathedral escaped this fate. The Dutch made the cathedral their arms storehouse. Later it fell into the hands of the British, who demolished it when they took over Cochin in 1795. One of the decorative granite pillars of the destroyed cathedral is still kept as a monument at the southeastern corner of the present basilica premises. Inscription at the bottom of the tower. The church has two lofty spires and a remarkably bright, whitewashed exterior and a pastel-colored interior. The interiors of the church are mostly Gothic, with the main altar decorated by the famous Italian painter Francis Antonio Moschini, S.J., and his disciple da Gama of Mangalore. Unfortunately, Francis Antonio Moschini died here on November 15, 1905, 4 days before the newly built church was consecrated. The columns decorated with frescoes and murals, the 7 large canvas paintings on the Passion and Death on the Cross, especially the painting of the Last Supper, modeled on the famous painting of Leonardo da Vinci, and the beautiful stained glass windows add to the artistic grandeur of the place. The paintings that adorn the ceiling depict scenes from the Via Crucis of Christ. The Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica at Fort Kochi is one of the 8 basilicas in India. This Roman Catholic church is a must-see destination for tourists who come to Kochi. The Santa Cruz Cathedral not only happens to be one of the oldest churches in Cochin, but also in the whole of India. Counted as one of the heritage edifices of Kerala, this church is visited by tourists the whole year round. It is situated close to St. Francis. The Church Fest of Mother Mary is widely celebrated by the diocese. The Dutch way of altar design is another feature. The church has 2 lofty spires and a remarkably bright, whitewashed exterior and a pastel-colored interior. The interiors of the church are mostly Gothic, with the main altar decorated by the famous Italian painters. The Portuguese-built Basilica's 500th anniversary was very recently. With gracious and admiring interiors, Gothic facade with soaring and dazzling spires, the Basilica is a charming prayer home. The interiors are decorated with colorful Indo-Romano style of decoration. The Dutch catch of Kochi in December 24, 1500 AD resulted in booming of warehouses in places of worships. The irresistible beauty garnered by stained glass and the imposing caryatids over the confessional boxes might have persuaded the Dutch to spare it. Founded soon after the arrival of the first Portuguese visitors to India. Feast Day, 3rd May. The foundation stone of the Santa Cruz Church was laid on May 3, 1505, the annual feast day of the invention of the Holy Cross, hence the magnificent edifice when completed was named Santa Cruz. Meanwhile, this church had undergone some serious demolition and re-erection. The present-day structure was consecrated on November 19, 1905. In 1984, Pope John Paul II raised the status of Santa Cruz Cathedral to Basilica for its antiquity, artistic dignity and historical importance. Mass time. Mass timings in Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica: weekdays, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 6 p.m. Sundays, 5:30 a.m., 6:45 a.m., 8 a.m., 9:15 a.m., 4:30 p.m. English. Titular Feast, Holy Cross November 14th. Other feasts: Our Lady of Most Holy Rosary 1 St Sunday of October. Our Lady of Fatima, December 31st. Novena to Our Mother of Perpetual Help on Saturdays at 5:45 p.m. Contact info: Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Bastion Street, Fort Nagar, Fort Kochi, Kochi, Kerala 682,001, India. Accommodations. Connectivity. Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi, Kerala is well connected with bus station, railway station and airport facilities rest of the country. Airways. Kochi International Marina Airport, Kerala, which is 45 kilometers from Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi. Railways. The nearest railway station is Ernakulam Railway Station, which is just nearby 12 km from Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi. Roadways. The nearest is Tuticorin, Old Bus Station, which is very nearby, 0.5 kilometers, from Santa Cruz Cathedral Basilica, Kochi. If you wish to know more about Catholic shrine basilicas, Marian shrines and Marian apparitions, subscribe to our Catholic Shrine Basilica YouTube channel. Like and share with your loved ones. For more churches, website www.catholicshrinebasilica.com.